Hey everybody, this is probably the most important video you will ever watch in your life because it's probably the only way that we can avoid Armageddon, World War III, by following the steps that are outlined in this video series, which you can learn more about at VHIERSmovement.com, or better yet, VHIERS.org. They're all about transformation. VHIERS is spelled VHIERS, an acronym for the Veterans Health Insurance Endowment and Referral Service. And FIRES, spelled PH. The PH makes the F sound like in Big Pharma. PHIERS, which is the People's Health Insurance Endowment and Referral Service. Together, they create a 100% risk and cost-free health insurance plan that can compete in the Medicare Advantage marketplace and undercut and outperform and do better than all the other insurance plans once we get enough people that qualify for volume discounts and negotiate on behalf of the government, which will literally save trillions of dollars every year. That's more than enough to give monthly checks to people to help them deal with inflation or deal with the housing or the food crisis. That's more than enough for us to buy back some of this high interest loan debt, or better yet, invest in the U.S. Post Office Bank, something that touches every business and every individual on the planet. It's the People's Bank. This would allow us to have a currency that's owned and controlled by we, the people, connected to or tied to an insurance plan, and a government that is respective, reflective, and protective of the collective best interests of we, the people. I can say that because the fired up 1,500 signature drive will give us control over Congress, which will give us the ability so they can use eminent domain and the Defense Production Act to deal with the housing and homeless crisis that's facing our nation. This is how we overcome the influence of private equity firms and foreign governments like AIPAC over Congress. All it takes is 1,500 signatures, and we can do it with you. Join us at VHIERSmovement.com or VHIERS.org to help prove that the power of the people really is stronger than the people in power when we organize, buy as a group, and vote as a team. The most important part about this offering is that we appeal to both sides of the political aisle with a focus on that which serves the collective best interest of everyone, in other words, the center. We solve problems identified by the Trump campaign about Harris and vice versa. But we also solve problems that neither of them can solve in a way that pays for itself out of savings without increasing taxes, raising the debt or deficit, or requiring legislation, which is why fire-powered solutions are the only way to go. And it's candidates who embrace our platform where we can create sustainable jobs, where we can make healthcare for all a reality, where we can give free health insurance to unions so that they can get supply chains and infrastructure and safety net working again, paid for out of savings. The moment that the government uses its power over corporations to protect the best interest of we the people, and all it takes is 1,500 signatures and respondents to a survey so that we can articulate the priorities of people in each congressional district, so that we can hold our elected officials accountable for doing what we the people want, or we will recall them immediately. And we can do all of this long before the upcoming 2024 election, which means with 1,500 signatures, we can create a government that is of, by, for, and accountable to we the people. The only thing that's missing is you. So hopefully you see that this plan will literally put the power in the hands of we the people and allow us to revoke war powers and the participation in or arming of or even sending troops to fight and wars abroad, because America and the West is provoking wars for reasons that we, the people, get nothing out of. So it's essential that right now America stops its support for the war in Israel because once a ceasefire, the terms for a ceasefire are reached, Hamas and Hezbollah will quit their response to Israel. At least that's the way it was before Netanyahu overstepped his bounds and started assassinating foreign leaders in the resistance. Fortunately, the discussion I have in this video series with a rabbinical judge, a high priest in the Jewish faith, a Lubavitcher, these rabbis trace their lineage back to Aaron, Moses' brother. That's how they know that Moses had brown skin and hair like wool, just like Jesus, and just like the people who the Holocaust survivors wrote poems about and called the Black Messiah. All of this is factual, verifiable. You can look it up on the internet before it gets scrubbed. You'll see. It's the Tuskegee Airmen and Patton's Panthers, black soldiers who were discriminated against and not allowed to fight with the other troops in the war. But it was only when we got involved that things changed for good and Hitler was defeated. It is with the authority of the family members of the soldiers who are responsible for Israel's very existence, which can be confirmed. Just ask the Chabad Lubavitch organization whether or not the things I say are true. Do that, and then even AIPAC will realize that candidates like Cori Bush and Jamal Bowman, who they spent untold amount of money on to get kicked out of office because they had the courage to speak against the genocide in Gaza. We have a plan to defeat the influence of money in politics and make sure that neither of them ever loses again, so long as they do the will of we the people. They weren't right about all of their policies, but they're certainly a lot better than the candidates who only support AIPAC's interest. So it's for this reason that we're launching a new movement. You can learn more at VHIERSmovement.com, which is a solution designed to protect, respect, and reflect the collective best interest of humanity on a global basis. Because I asked my Lubavitcher friend, the rabbinical judge, Dan, who delivered the keynote speech at AIPAC not long ago. I picked him up from the airport, drove him to the speech, picked him up. He actually spent the night at my house. We had breakfast together, and then I took him back to the airport, and he came back here to Sacramento. That's how close I am with this man, my friend. And he acknowledges that I'm not anti-Semitic, even though I am anti-Zionist. Because even if God gave them that land, I asked him point blank, doesn't the Torah say that you're to treat the women and the orphans well? I mean, you're supposed to take care of them, and you're supposed to feed the hungry and make sure you honor existing ancestral boundaries, and you make sure that the government serves everyone, from the indigenous people to the settlers. Everyone was supposed to be treated the same, which sounds pretty much like a democracy. So anyway, to pick a fight and then judge people for fighting back doesn't give you the right to defend yourself, because you were the aggressor. You drew first blood. And you've been doing it for more than 75 years, I told my friend. So if the people who are responsible for Israel's existence were to have saved the Jews from Holocaust in 3 different concentration camps, the Black Messiah poem was written about them. That's how you can verify this. Holocaust survivors wrote poems about these men. They are the ones who demand that Israel cease fire immediately and end the occupation, because they would not exist had they not been saved from genocide by the black soldiers who risked their lives to save these people, who are now committing genocide against an indigenous people, mostly women and children. That is evil and it is wrong, and Israel needs to cease fire now, because they are the aggressors. They're just pushing a Western settler colonialist agenda, which is why the brown countries over there are not the axis of evil. They're the ones who are actually the most, well, we don't want to get into that right now, but just suffice it to say that anyone who would shed innocent blood indiscriminately, who would starve a people, make them drink poison water, basically, that has all kinds of infectious diseases, and inoculate and vaccinate your own people, and watch the people you subjected to these inhumane conditions after bombing them to oblivion, and not providing them with what they need to, you're exterminating them. That's what he's doing. This is worse than what Hitler did in some regards. So, to the degree that the West thinks that because they have white skin, that they have bright hearts, no. If you judge a tree by its fruit, then you'll know that they have hearts that are dark, that are truly evil. And in the yin-yang world, they're like the great white hopes with hearts of darkness. And the contrast to that is us. If you judge a tree by its fruit. So, if you want to pursue world peace, just know that Dad, Al Wilson Jr., a Tuskegee Airman, he was a real estate developer after he retired from the Air Force, top rank, E9, after 20 years, 6 months, 3 weeks, 7 days. He has it down to the second. It's funny. He had a swimming pool, and he enlarged it, started training Olympic swimmers. And not long after, he turned it into a big health club. It served the military bases all over California, and it was the biggest one in California. But when the bases moved out, he sold it to the Ukrainians. It is now the world's largest Ukrainian church, where we had the first meeting of Mobeta veterans and VHIERS, to where we met with refugees from Ukraine and Russia and veterans of numerous wars. And I can tell you this, not one of them wants the war, not one of them would voluntarily fight in war, and if they weren't first attacked, and every one of them is committed to peace. So we're putting together a prayer vigil. We announced it last year at the church Dad built. So if you're interested in supporting what it is we're trying to do, I want you to go to the VHIERSmovement.com website, sign a petition, and take the survey, and join us virtually for an international prayer vigil where we've already met with clergy from all over the world. We've met with veterans and soldiers from militaries all over the world. We have the ability to positively influence the lives of people on both sides of these wars that America is provoking. And so the U.S. is provoking, I should say. And I need everyone, the enemies of America, to realize that the American people are not the cause of these problems, and our plan will end these wars and end the aggression. We want peaceful coexistence with Russia and China. We want to collaborate. With our plan, we will give unions health insurance, which means that we can get supply chains moving again, we can fix infrastructure, and we can work together towards a better world. We do not want to allow the World Economic Forum and its, let's just call it allies, to trick the world into torching America, because the American people are innocent of the things that the elites have done. So let's thwart them all. To the people who want to hurt America from the inside, we're not your enemy. So please, even though our country has done horrible things to yours, it wasn't our country. It was the people at the top who wanted to provoke you into hating the American people so you could wipe us out and burn away the evidence so no one knows how evil they are. And then they have a whitewashed world, which is kind of what's happening in Gaza right now, is they erase cemeteries, museums, universities, the health and hospital system, the infrastructure, water, electric, internet. All of those things are happening at the same time. They're subjected to all types of infectious diseases because they don't have potable water, and the people are dying, and they're still being bombed. Those are multiple acts of America. The leadership in America is complicit. In fact, that stuff wouldn't be happening if we didn't allow it to happen. Therefore, we want people who agree that the bounds and the justification and the Moral and spiritual authority to demand that Israel ceasefire immediately belongs to the black soldiers who are responsible for Israel's existence. I had the honor of meeting with the families of both since I've been in California and realized that they and their relatives actually have regrets for having saved the Jews from genocide, because they didn't know that they would commit genocide for an agenda that's only goal is to have a white ethno-state. It's called Zionism. And the same type of erasure of the indigenous people in Palestine or in Gaza is happening to the indigenous people here in the United States. The lost tribe of Judah, described in Genesis chapter 15, verse 13, which says that they'd be a stranger in a foreign land where they would be enslaved and mistreated for 400 years, after which time the world will realize that they are the true, they're the chosen ones. And at that time, the world would realize that everything they thought about them, the least among us, would shift in the twinkling of an eye. And this new consciousness would sweep over the globe. And the world would become a much better place. And in closing, just know that the Lubavitchers believe that the world will be saved by 2 members of the lost tribe. It will be saved from oblivion. That's the prophecy. Don't believe me? Ask them. And I've got videos on the website, like the church Dad built. So you can see that everything I'm saying is verifiable. It's non-speculative. I'm not making any of this up. I'm showing it to you to help you realize that everything you thought about American descendants of slavery, black people, in particular, black men, everything you thought about us was wrong. Because that which I'm accomplishing because of Dad. We've been working together for decades on solutions to some of the biggest challenges facing humanity. We didn't launch until now because, we are problem solvers. Why create a business if it will not survive what's unfolding? And we realized that if we couldn't figure out how to end the likelihood of Armageddon and World War III, that nothing else matters. We're on a burning platform. So we chose to delay gratitude. We chose to allow people to hate us, to thwart us, to steal our stuff, to profit at our expense, to stab us in the back many times. And and they just went out of their way to make us fail. But we didn't let it stop us. We kept going because we knew that together we could accomplish things no one else on the planet could. And we could improve the lives of people worldwide more than anyone else could, which proves that we can't be inferior. In fact, what's wild is the group of people who think they're the most intelligent and important people on the planet. These people control Hollywood, the music and entertainment industry. And they think and treat people like me, American descendants of slavery, as though we have no value. We have low IQ, we can't do anything, we're dependent on everyone and everything, and all we do is take. While what Dad and I are here to prove is that we can defy all the stereotypes and tropes. And despite what people have said, we managed to accomplish that which no one else could, because we can provide all the justification needed to even undermine what the IDF thinks about Netanyahu, because of what we know, what I've shared with you in this, and the debate, the ongoing discussion I have with my friend, who's, the spiritual advisors, the high priest in the Jewish faith, the Zionist movement. He acknowledges that the things I say are true. Don't believe me? Ask him. And then ask if what Israel is doing is consistent with what the Torah demands they do. They justify the killing of the indigenous people because they say anyone trying to kill you should be killed or expelled from the region. But because they've provoked this evil after the Nakba, when they started expanding out beyond the ancestral and agreed upon borders that the Torah said that they should honor, that's when the aggression started. So Israel is, like the rabbi said, the Native Americans had a right to defend themselves. Yep, they did. And so did the Palestinians. So Israel is the aggressor. They are not, offering a defense. And what they're doing is evil and wrong. So to the IDF, You all think you're all the superior, but ask Netanyahu whether or not you would exist if it were not for the heroic and brilliant actions of the black soldiers who were responsible for Hitler's defeat, because it was the Tuskegee Airmen who defeated Hitler's superior jet fighter pilot war machine that was flown by ace pilots that destroyed all of the aircraft, the bombers that the Allied forces were sending to defeat Hitler. They couldn't defeat him until the black pilots got involved. The Tuskegee Airmen were the ones who are responsible for the bombing of Berlin, which took out Hitler's tank manufacturing capability, which is why he was defeated, because the tanks were the yeah. Anyway, so I say this to say that since Israel would not exist but for these black soldiers, and these black soldiers demand that they cease fire immediately, Israel can't say that the blacks that they think they're superior to, actually they owe their lives to. And that's why the big secret that the Jewish people don't want the world to know, that they owe their lives to black people, American descendants of slavery, who are responsible for their existence, because Patton's Panthers are the black soldiers who discovered, fought against, and then liberated the Jews in 3 different concentration camps. That's the reason that the poem, The Black Messiah, was written. So it's on the authority of the veterans' families who are responsible for Israel's existence, because many of those Jews who were liberated went on to form the modern state of Israel. I asked my rabbi friend if it's true that Israel has to honor its life debt, the debt of gratitude, because the black soldiers demand that they cease fire now. And he didn't answer. So we know the truth. What Israel is doing is wrong, and the ones responsible for their existence are making the demand that they cease fire, that Netanyahu be arrested for crimes against humanity and war crimes, and the same is true for President Joe Biden, Genocide Joe. And if any candidate wants to remain in office, hopefully they'll make the right choice as it decides on whether or not they want to continue to support Israel. We're going to make sure that the only people who are in office from this day forward are those who stand up for world peace. Whether it's with Russia, China, North Korea, we want peace with everyone. Don't let what our former leaders have done trick you into hating the American people, because we did not do this. We are against the same people that you are, whatever that means. What we want is world peace, and to those who are trying to destabilize the world, we want them to be brought to justice. So I'm not calling for anything violent. I put my life on the line to support that which serves the collective best interest of humanity. I can only do this because of Dad and Auntie, the wind beneath my wings, and my angels. So special thanks to those of you who have waited patiently for me to do as I said I would do. I owe you all. So hopefully you see that because I stayed the course and I didn't just chase money, I focused on how to solve problems important to all of us. So hopefully you can forgive me for taking so long to reach out. It's because I was triggered by the emerging threats, and I can't deal with the things in front of us, like how to bring about world peace, how to get control of Congress, how to appeal to both sides of the political aisle so that we can escape the 2-party duopoly where either Democrats or Republicans win. We appeal to the anti-Trump and the anti-woke. We have problems with what wokeness has done to our values, to our country. At the same time, we're here to prove to the white supremacists, the Western chauvinists, the feminists, the alphabet people, we're here to prove to you that you need us. We have solutions that are important to you. So as long as you all want to hate black men like Dad and me, you're hurting yourselves. We have solutions that are important to all of humanity, and if we can't prevent Armageddon and World War III, if we can't get our unions working to get our supply chains and infrastructure fixed so that we can actually have a better life, then none of us survives. So we have a plan that can help us have a smaller, smarter government that uses shared services. We can escape the challenges of a CDBC with a platform that is owned, operated by, and accountable to we the people. Paves the way to an inclusive moral economy where we use shared services and we reward participation and good behavior and pay for outcomes. And we can mentor and help organizations that want to be part of the next big thing work together to prove that the powers that be can't destroy us when we shift our focus from things that divide us and focus on the things that serves our common good. That's my message for this day, August 5th. Tomorrow, AIPAC is going to attack Cori Bush, but it doesn't matter what happens in that election because the power of the people is stronger than the people in power, and we can defeat the influence of money in politics with the fired up 1,500 signature drive. So it doesn't matter. Let's go ahead and put people in Congress who are going to protect our interests by holding town hall meetings before our elected officials go back to D.C. Right now they're on recess, they're vacationing and things of that nature. So let's hold them accountable for attending a town hall meeting, even virtually, and we can do it the moment we have 1,500 signatures in each voting district, which will give us, with 1,500 signatures, we can hold Congress accountable, meaning our elected officials accountable for coming to the town hall meeting where we will tell them exactly what the results of our survey are so that they will know exactly what our priorities are so they can then commit to either doing what we want or doing something better. And if they can't do either one of those, then we will recall them immediately. And this is how we have a government that is of, by, and for we the people, that can be trusted and accountable to we the people. And to the candidates who embrace our platform, they're more likely to win than those who won't. But the candidates that we endorse will be the ones who commit to stepping aside the moment that the voting public are no longer happy with what they're doing. It's in this way that we can make sure that our government truly respects, reflects, and protects the interests of we the people. And it's in this way that we can guarantee one person, one vote, and have leverage over the upcoming election and the outcomes. This really is a best fit solution and a path to a brighter tomorrow that starts by ending our rush to war. It helps unions, supply chains, infrastructure, safety nets, people across the nation and around the world be a little more hopeful than they currently are. And it comes from an unlikely source. Someone that the world believes is worthless, has served its purpose. Someone that the world is trying to erase, much like they're doing to the Palestinians. We're here to show you that we're not the least among us. We're the most valuable player. We are the chosen ones. And if you don't believe me, ask Netanyahu's spiritual leaders. And you'll see. It's kind of wild, but it's true. To learn more, visit sackjewishlife.org and ask the rabbi if the things that I'm saying are true. All right? And then tell him we look forward to meeting on Access Sacramento, the Dredge Together show, so that we can debate whether or not what Israel is doing is right in the eyes of God and humanity. If he can't beat me in the argument, then it's clear that Netanyahu doesn't even have the moral or spiritual or any kind of authority to do as he's doing, because he's acting against the Torah. All right, so anyway, I got a message to send out to my rabbi friend right now along those lines. So stay tuned for the next part of this video, and let me know what you think about this series in the comment section below, and be sure to like and share it. And then go to VHIERSmovement.com where you sign the petition and take the survey. This is how we can have a government that reflects, respects, and protects the interests of we the people. And our goal is to get this in place before August 19th. That's the first day of Holy Week. I'll tell you more about that later. It's also the first day of the Democratic National Convention. And we are the alternative to Kamala, Trump, and anarchy. Because we have a best fit solution to the biggest challenges facing humanity, starting by preventing World War III and Armageddon. All right? So with that, I wish you peace. And yeah, here's what the rabbi had to say about that.